Ladies and gentlemen, the following episode is scheduled for one fall. Coming down the aisle are your hosts of In The Kliq, baby Huey and BrianTronic.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
The hot tag.
The hot tag, yes, absolutely. Brian, you're making this safe for me. You're helping me out, of course, in more ways than one. But here we are. We're doing back-to-back episodes of In The Kliq. Like I said a couple episodes ago, I apologize for lack of episodes for the last few weeks, just busy at work and stuff. We're making up for lost time now. We're catching you up on everything. If you're listening to this right now, please, when you're done, immediately go listen to our previous episode. We talked very heavily about AEW, all the drama there, and the build up to All Out. Very fun episode. Very fun conversation, too. I think, Brian, that's why I love having you part of this show. We get in those deep conversations and talk about the big news stories, all that stuff. This episode is all about WWE, what's been going on. We haven't had a chance to really talk WWE since SummerSlam. Actually, we didn't have like a full SummerSlam review. Yeah. Last time we talked WWE was Vince McMahon retiring, so a lot has happened since then. Obviously,
we had to talk that though. It was a
absolutely.
must.
Absolutely. So
I feel like so much in WWE's been going on. It's been kind of hard to right now. I feel like it's the perfect time. It's right before their pay-per-view and it's like, okay, we kind of got a minute now. We can kind of address everything that's been going on.
I mean, literally 2 pay-per-views next week. Clash of the Castle and Worlds Collide. So let's get into it. So WWE for the last 5 weeks post SummerSlam, a lot's been going on. I think we're now officially seeing the Triple H era in full effect. Things have been going on, changes with the presentation, the broadcast, the actual content, what we see on the episode, character changes, some subtle, some not so subtle, the storylines, what's being told, so much going on here. So Brian, let's start kind of big. Just your overall thoughts on the creative direction of Triple H in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I'm so excited. I'm excited. I'm so happy. It's like, I'm not gonna lie. For a while there, after WrestleMania, it was just kind of been like
rematches,
dry. Like it's just like forwarding through Monday Night Raw, right? Like sometimes I would pause it, just wait a little bit, like do something, get on my computer or whatever. And then I would just forward through some segments and be like, all right, well, this is the same thing, or this is the same match, or we're getting the same thing over and over. And over the last, month with Triple H, man, I'm so excited. Like I'm angry because I'm like, oh my God, Raw's over already? SmackDown's over already? Like I want more. And you really notice the gap between Raw and SmackDown when you're excited about it. It's like, oh man, I gotta wait all the way until Friday now to watch what Triple H is gonna do next. Who's gonna shine on this week, on Friday, on Monday. So many different people have been shining. You see a little bit of the same things that were going on prior to McMahon stepping down, but it's been such a breath of fresh air watching the matches and the stories come together, the returns, the debuts, all the call-ups, whatever, everything has been great, man.
All right, so let's get so for me, what I love is how much buzz WWE has again, this breath of fresh air, these the matches, the matchups, who's facing who, and the storytelling's being told now. It's refreshing. It's exciting. I'm intrigued, to see what's going on, and I'm with you as far as more emphasis on the wrestling. Matches are going through 1 or 2 commercial breaks now, so there's longer matches, and banger matches. I know the word banger gets used a lot, but it's true. These amazing matches are being told, and they're having pay-per-view level quality matches as the main event, which is great because it's like, sure, you can have you have a big roster and you have plenty of matches to build to the pay-per-view, but maybe you don't want to save for the pay-per-view. Yeah, give it as the main event on a respected episode of Raw or SmackDown. Like, case in point, on Raw this week, Edge coming back to hometown Toronto against a match, Damian Priest getting revenge against Judgment Day. The previous week on SmackDown, Gunther versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the IC title as the main event. Awesome. It wasn't a main event, but Bobby Lashley versus Ciampa for the U.S. title. Amazing. So, and I love how in these last few weeks, there's been more emphasis on the IC and U.S. title. Triple H having these video packages made showing the rich history of both titles and what they mean to the fans. And just like in these 90-second or 2-minute videos, reestablish the value, the importance of these titles and why we need to care about them. It's amazing. And then Bobby Lashley and Gunther, respected, U.S. and IC title respectively, going out there and putting on, hard-hitting matches and giving us a reason and the opponents they've been facing. So it's like creating a buzz while maybe the world champion is not on TV every week defending. These secondary titles are just important and represent each respected show and can be used to main event the week-to-week television, which is awesome. And,
it is.
And then also, the returns, people being brought back or called up. Karrion Kross, Scarlett back on SmackDown, attacking Drew McIntyre, also calling out Drew McIntyre, attacking him, also calling out Roman Reigns. Dexter Lumis showing up on TV every week, looked like stalking originally The Miz, but kidnapped The Miz, or you're stalking AJ Styles, but then kidnapped The Miz this week, then showing up on NXT, reuniting with his on-screen wife, Indy Hartwell. Index reunited for a minute, gives her a letter. He's arrested. So who knows what's next for him? Indy Hartwell, she's probably going to go to the main roster now to go find him. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they leave you on these cliffhangers every week and these storytellings, stuff going on in the background you need to pay attention to because it could be Easter eggs for what's happening, especially, cars crashing the walls, fires being put out.
Hands poking out of doors.
Hands poking out. What was the other one? Let's see. Dexter Lumis, Karrion Kross. Who am I missing here that's been coming back?
Hit Row.
Oh, yeah, Hit Row. Yeah, Hit Row. Back with WWE, not without Swerve Scott, but the OG3, as we mentioned in the last episode. So please listen to that. It's... who else am I missing? Is there anyone else big returns? Oh, Seth Rollins and Riddle, having brawls with each other, which is cool. Having these, tearaway brawls with the roster or officials trying to break it up. Yeah. I just worried that Triple H might overdo that. And it's give me some good promos in the ring too. But Riddle and Seth Rollins going back and forth the last couple weeks. The women's tag team tournament for trying to crown new tag champions. The big emphasis on women's wrestling seems to be very important once again. It's been a lot of positives. It's really exciting. And this is something you and I have talked about so much. It's you have a huge roster. And I know Raw is 3 hours. It's still a lot to watch.
Yep.
But you have a huge roster. You can devote so many segments. You can devote a segment to, like I said, the U.S. title, another segment to the men's tag team division, another segment to the women's tag division, singles women's match, main event. You can, all these different divisions you have, you can equally represent throughout the course of the show. And it seems like Triple H is trying to do his justice to spread it all out and have these compelling storylines. So I said, I've been so happy. You and I have been texting up a storm every week about different things going on, and it's funny seeing a lot of anti-WWE people, trying to still bury them somehow. And it's it's got a positive buzz going. We're all genuinely excited for Clash of the Castle. It's a really good time to be a WWE fan. It's exciting. I'm excited for where they go after this. Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania season. Like it's gonna be awesome. Like
it
all
is.
that. So with that being said, let's go ahead. Let's touch on. Let's see. Monday Night Raw this week. Couple things here. The big takeaways. Oh, speaking of big returns, we gotta talk about the return of Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano. That's the big takeaway. Sorry, Johnny, friend of the show. Yes, man, Johnny Gargano is back in WWE. Man, I can't believe it. It was in Toronto, so a little bit of a different location than wasn't in Cleveland or anything like that.
Right.
But really, it was in the beginning of the third hour.
Yep.
Come out of commercial, his music just starts playing, and he just comes out to the ring. And I think everyone was shocked. Like, what? Like it wasn't announced. Yep. It wasn't like leaked to the dirt sheets or anything. Mm-hmm. It was a true, just total surprise. So, Brian, your thoughts on the return of Johnny Gargano with WWE?
Yeah, so I'm excited, and I remember I was again, like I was sitting here like every now and then, like when I have Raw turned up all the like volume all the way up now, just because I'm so pumped, I'm so excited. So like during commercial break, I'll have it on mute, just so I can talk to my wife or talk to my son, and we're just talking, having a conversation, and I sit and I look and I'm like, oh, Raw's back on. So I unmute, and then Gargano's music hits, and I'm like, what? And I told Charlie, my son, I said, yeah, no way. I said, no way. It's got to be like somebody trolling. There's no way. And sure enough, it was really Johnny Gargano, and I think everybody in attendance in Toronto you could see the genuine shock on people's faces.
It was kind of slow. Like you saw some people like, yeah, but then like the rest of the crowd were like, it took them a second to process what's going on, and then you see some of them like took them a second, and then they started jumping up. And they realized what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And see, like the way that it was done, like that's one thing I love about WWE in these last 4 weeks is that they've kind of restored that thing. Like you never know what's going to happen, right? You never know what's going to happen in the world. Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation, right? Like that was like their thing back in the day, and it's just like stuff like that, the spontaneous out of nowhere returns or debuts or even main events, right? Like it's like I'm so happy that it happened that way and it didn't happen, and we found out about it 3 hours prior or a week or 2 days. And I know that everyone was kind of like, well, Triple H is in charge, so Johnny Gargano, where he's going to show up, right? And I know even himself said, I forget where it was, but he said that, when he shows up, he wants it to be special, he wants it to be a surprise, everyone will know, right? And so, yeah, man, him showing up on Raw was sweet. It was great seeing his name up there. Johnny Wrestling, it was great, saying Johnny Wrestling is back.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I texted you this, but the other day I dusted off my Johnny Champion T-shirt.
Oh, nice.
And I have a Johnny Takeover shirt. They've been sitting in my closet for so long, and I dusted them off. And I was looking on WWE Shop earlier, and there's Johnny Wrestling shirt up there. I was like, oh, I might have to get that now because I'm with you. I'm so excited. And I was happy that the crowd reacted. Mm-hmm. Like, I know he's been gone. What was it? End of December, right? December when he left NXT.
9 months, he said. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I love he shouted his son Quinn watching Baby Wrestling.
Yep. Baby Wrestling.
Cool shot of Candace holding their son, staring at the TV while Johnny had the WWE microphone. So that's a cool moment.
Oh, sweet, man.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'm so happy the crowd reacted so positively. We're happy to see him. Didn't forget who he was. And I don't know, do we say this is a Raw debut? But he technically did debut on Raw a couple years ago. Remember when Vince told Triple H, send me your 6 best, and Ciampa and them, Aleister Black, Ricochet, they all got called up. Mm-hmm. He didn't last there too long. He went back to NXT. But so I guess this is a re-debut. Not necessarily.
I would call it. I would call it the proper debut.
Proper debut.
It hit different, you know?
It did. So, like I said, I'm just happy the crowd knew who he was. And I know, like you said, he wasn't like he was been gone for 9 months, and really his time was more just on NXT. So the fact that the larger fan base seemed to know who he was, that was a cool feeling. And I'm
got
sure
a
for
Johnny
him,
wrestling chant too. Like that was so cool.
Yeah, it was. I'm so happy for him. And just to hear Rebel Heart again, it's such a great theme song for him. I'm excited for his future. Obviously, with Triple H in charge, he'll handle him. He took such good care of him in NXT. He accomplished everything down there, and I hope he can redo all that magic again on a bigger stage on Raw. Mm-hmm. I've said this before. Like, I really think Johnny Gargano could be the next. I'll say Daniel Bryan, because that's what the name he went by in WWE. But like a little bit of an undersized underdog, overcoming the odds, defeating the bigger people. I think Johnny Gargano for this generation could be, like I said, this generation's Daniel Bryan. Like, I think print money with that. Like that's going to be golden. Yeah. With that being said, he cuts a promo, kind of, reintroduce himself. I thought it was smart. Tell him who he was, what he accomplished in NXT, in case the casual person doesn't know. And then sure enough, Theory comes out, interrupts him.
My guy.
No, I didn't read into it. Was it reported today he's going back to Austin Theory now? Did you see that?
I read, I think it was PW Insider said that he is possibly going to go back to using Austin Theory instead of Theory. And I hope that's true, because I think him having a first name just fits him. And if he's going to be a future world champion, for someone like him who's not like well established or anything like that, I think it's important, especially like I said, for someone who is new and as young as him, to have a first name. Theory's kind of boring. It sucks. Like, what are you gonna sell with just the name Theory on it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Austin Theory, man. I hope so.
So Theory's in the ring and acknowledging their past, their history as that faction in NXT. And then, Theory went full heel and said, look what I accomplished since I left you in NXT. You wish you can do all that stuff. So he's like talking down, condescending attitude to Johnny Gargano, and says, you wish you could do everything I did in this short time. Good luck with that. And then Johnny Gargano super kicked him in the face. And it's like, yes! Like, instant, like, babyface love for Johnny Gargano. Yep. So I don't know if this is going to lead to a program between the two of them. I know fans online were saying Johnny should beat Austin Theory for the Money in the Bank briefcase and cash in. I let Austin keep the briefcase, because cashing in, that's more of a heel tactic. I want Johnny to have that long-term storytelling of overcoming the odds, and therefore when he does win whatever title, it means more because he really earned it. So that's my thoughts on that. But hey, excited for Johnny Gargano, man, back with the company. It just feels right, feels at home. I know people thought he was going to go to AEW, but let's be honest, he went to AEW, probably got lost in the shuffle after a few months, like everyone else that's been there. So, or even I know I've seen some people saying Ring of Honor, but then he would have just been on the shelf until Tony decided what TV deal or streaming deal he wanted to get for Ring of Honor. I know that's kind of on hold right now. And we do see Claudio and FTR on Rampage and Dynamite, but this is Johnny Gargano, man. I'm glad he's home. I'm glad he's back in WWE. It feels right. And there's some big stories they could tell there.
Big stories. And Johnny Gargano, WWE needs someone like him. They do, like, for the now, for the future, right? I was just thinking yesterday, like, man, like, they're in such a good spot right now. I know that Triple H has a lot on his plate with who's going to be champion, who's going to beat Roman, who's going to be the next, who's going to be the now, right? He's got guys like Kross and Roman who are both, getting up there in age. I even thought about Bobby Roode, Huey, and I'm like, man, I know he's up there in age also, but under the Triple H era, I would love to see Bobby Roode just one more good run, you know?
Well, hey, and you know, I sent you that video. Hey, now that Gargano is back in WWE, him and Ciampa can bring back those videos of the glorious videos with Bobby Roode in the background playing his theme song. We could totally bring those back. I know they did one last special one with the last In Your House. Was it last year or wherever it was? But do it on the main roster now. Yes. That'd be awesome. But yeah, like the stories they could do with Ciampa potentially, if they want to do a DIY reunion, or we know their legendary feud with each other, they can bring that on a bigger stage. I mean, the possibilities are pretty endless, and that's a great thing. It's exciting. And like I said, there's so much they could do with Johnny Gargano right now. And like, how lucky does Johnny Gargano feel? Like, he held out, he didn't sign anywhere, he didn't do anything, he just enjoyed being a dad for all these months. I'm sure, you know, he probably was thinking he probably had to sign somewhere soon because he does have a son. He's got to provide for him eventually, you know, or make more money. I'm sure he saved up, and that's why he was able to be off for as long as he was. But you know, he's got to start making more money again. And like the Vince McMahon situation, him leaving WWE, that was like huge for Johnny Gargano's future. Like, I'm sure if Vince was still there, he probably wouldn't have resigned because, you know, Vince, you know, doesn't like necessarily smaller guys. So Johnny lucked out so hard with those real life issues with, you know, Vince McMahon and stuff. So anyway, super happy. So much to look forward to now with WWE. The main event, though, Edge versus Damian Priest. Love that match. It was awesome. You know, Edge performing in front of his hometown crowd, Toronto. Great match that went pretty long. Edge picked up the victory. He did a Canadian Destroyer into a spear, picked up the win over Damian Priest, but then he got attacked by Judgment Day. Yes. Rhea Ripley comes in, Finn Balor, they're beating up on him, but Beth Phoenix comes out from the crowd, makes the save, has a stare down with Rhea Ripley. So yeah, Brian, your thoughts on this main event, how it played out, Judgment Day, and are we gonna see Beth Phoenix back in the ring?
Oh man, well the main event was good. Felt like an old school, like Raw main event, right? Like I know that they have no champion, but you could have easily slapped the championship on one of them for this main event, and it would have felt good, right? I mean, Edge in his hometown, that was great. Damian Priest, I feel like he's in the best position that he's been in since being on the main roster. And so, yeah, Edge pulling off the Canadian Destroyer. That's scary.
Petey Williams, right? He's the one who invented it with your head. He's probably like,
that's kind of scary, but he was able to hit it, so I was glad.
Kudos to Damian Priest, man, because you know it's he had to help set that up, right? Like execute it properly. You know, try to be the one to do the flip over to sell it for Edge, right? Make him look good in that situation.
Oh yeah, definitely. And listen, I love Judgment Day. I love Triple H. That's another thing that I feel like ever since he took control of creative, they seem a lot more real. They seem a lot more relaxed. Finn Balor, he's smiling less. He's got that look on his, like, I mean, I thought about this a while ago, like, when you think of wrestlers, right, from Ireland, you think of like guys who like to fight, like, right, like Finley and
Sheamus
and
Becky Lynch.
Like, come on, right? So, and then again, Finn's another one. I mean, I think he just turned 41 or something like that, and
Dolph Ziggler,
right? On top of that, like, Finn has been. You know what I was thinking? Finn Balor, guys like Finn Balor, not to go too much off topic, but Finn Balor is one of those guys that, when you think about it, they've been in WWE for so long, doesn't really have much to show for it, right? I mean, they tout and they play back that former the first Universal champion, but that was only for like
6 years ago now. Was it
Yeah,
6
and that
years?
was and that was only like for like what
A day.
a day barely, you know.
Yeah.
And so and then I know he had the Intercontinental title. He's an Intercontinental champ, right?
Yeah, that was
For a little bit.
I'm trying to think, did he have anything other titles?
U.S. Did he have he won the U.S. title, but all of those reigns were so short. I mean, he didn't really. I think the only really good time that I think as a fan that I've enjoyed watching him has been in NXT. So now I feel like the Judgment Day story is coming across a lot more. Like it makes a lot more sense now. They're to being taken a lot more serious.
New theme music for individual person. Yeah,
Finn's got new theme. I know Rhea Ripley had new theme music like shortly after she had joined. But Finn's, theme, I love it. Like the presentation of it is even like, oh my God, like he feels great, right? Even guys like Dolph Ziggler going out there and, having a match with Finn, and just killing it, right? Like, I just love it, man.
I love their backstage interaction. Like Dolph hit Finn, or Dolph said, like, we're the same age, man.
Yeah.
Like Finn was talking to Dolph and like calling like older, and he's like, we're the same age.
He was saying he was attaching himself to the young guys and manipulating them and just trying to put yourself in a position, and he's like, kid. Finn Balor told him kid, and he's like, we're the same age.
And then Dolph hit him, and then he comes back to the through the grill position. It's like, you ready to fight, bitch? and so that was funny. But yeah, no, Beth Phoenix. I wonder. Could we see Beth versus Rhea 1-on-1? Or maybe Edge and Beth team up once again like they did at Royal Rumble earlier this year and have one-on-one match with Finn and Rhea, or Damian Rhea at a match at some point. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I'm definitely liking, even though Damian Priest lost here, Triple H is trying to do his best, I think, to course correct Judgment Day and who are they, their identity, their purpose, all that stuff. So speaking of course correction, something that got the whole crowd popping, we saw Chad Gable come out, just make fun of Canada, Toronto, all that stuff, saying hockey's better in Tampa Bay, where he lives, than Toronto. So make fun of Canada, and then sure enough, you had an open challenge, and the person who answered that challenge was Kevin Owens, one of Canada's finest, but comes out with his old NXT like Jumbotron, old NXT t-shirt, definitely going back to the prize fighter roots, and destroys Chad Gable here. So Triple H is getting his boys back on track as far as the presentation he had on once in NXT. So your thoughts on Kevin Owens kind of going back to his roots?
I'm happy for him. I feel like he's another one of those guys who in his time in WWE, he's done so much, he's been there for so long, but doesn't really have much to show for it. Like that hit me, and I know it hits him, and it'll hit a lot of Kevin Owens fans when he spoke and said that he hasn't held a title in 5 years. It's just like, what 5 years? Like, that's insane. So I think that this is a great reset. I can almost guarantee you that this might have been, if not his full idea, I'm sure he was very, very happy and grateful to be going back to being the prize fighter, the duct tape t-shirt with the KO, the old graphics, the old feel of Kevin Owens. Really what got people really loving Kevin Owens, especially when he came to NXT. I know him being on the indies, he was already who he was, but this is a great reset for him. Again, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about the promo he had with Drew.
No, we didn't have a chance. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, they both said wrestling, kept telling wrestling over and over, and let's fight, let's wrestle. Like, he's doing great on the mic, and it's great that all the promos most of these wrestlers are delivering seem more relaxed and not have to worry about saying certain buzzwords anymore. They can just speak freely and say wrestling. And Drew McIntyre telling Kevin Owens, you want to fight? Let's wrestle. Like, we're wrestlers in a wrestling ring.
And Kevin Owens just coming out and saying that he wants the Intercontinental title, he wants the U.S. title, he wants the tag team titles, he wants the WWE Undisputed Universal title. He wants it. He wants it all. And I feel like WWE. It's been a while since we got a guy who has said that, who represents that, like someone who pretty much wants everything. He wants. He doesn't just want the world title. He doesn't just want to be tag team champion. He wants everything. He wants. I'm sure if the King of the Ring was a thing, he'd say he wanted to be King of the Ring, right?
Yes.
So,
be like his idol, right? Like Owen Hart.
Yeah, like Owen.
I'm sure.
Exactly.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm happy for him. And the match he had with Chad Gable, man, he was bumping. Kevin Owens was bumping a lot. It was scaring me. I'm like, don't make yourself unavailable now. Like,
there was one, I think he landed pretty close to his head, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So no, I'm excited, and we'll talk a little more Kevin Owens in a little bit because I kind of wonder him and Sami Zayn, where could that be going? So, last thing from Raw, the show kicked off with Trish Stratus, Toronto's own, coming out, big reaction. Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky confront her. Sure enough, Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss come for the save. Little back and forth here. Do you think this is going to lead to a Trish versus Bayley match at some point? I know we saw Bayley make her in-ring return against Aaliyah this week. Looked great as well. Definitely some callbacks to her match with Sasha Banks. I saw Bayley was posting on social. But, what do you think? You think Bayley versus Trish is in the works? Or this is like more like a one-time in-ring segment? Do you want to see it? Yeah, kind of your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, I feel like it's possible. I wouldn't be like, I would like to see it. I wouldn't be too mad at that, something like that. But then I feel like that would be something that I think should be saved for like Sasha Banks, right? Like Sasha Banks, she's been more on like vocal about wanting to go up against Trish, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yeah,
it's either Trish or somebody. It's one of the legends, one of the Hall of Famers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That Sasha Banks has been, known for saying she wanted to step in the ring with. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking Bayley, why not? Put Bayley in there with Trish, or you could bring back anybody. I feel like at this point, I feel like now, even with Triple H in charge, these returns from legends and Hall of Famers are going to be a lot different than before in the Vince era, and not to shoot down, because I feel like Vince took care of them and made everybody look great too. I don't want to just make it Vince was horrible, Triple H is a great thing, but I know that Triple H has a different mind and a different way of looking at things, and he may be more open to seeing whatever ideas they may have when they come back and things like that. So yeah, but Bayley, I agree, she did look good in her match with Aaliyah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what happens going forward.
And also we saw Dakota Kai and Io Sky defeat Alexa Bliss and Asuka, so they now advance to the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament Final. So that's going to be tomorrow on Raw. It's going to be on Raw this week. So, and we'll talk about who their opponent's going to be in 1 second. So that's Raw in a nutshell. A lot of stuff, exciting stuff there, and just with Triple H and all that stuff. Let's jump to SmackDown this week. So the build to the main event for Clash at the Castle, Drew McIntyre challenging Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship, or Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship. I think it's a mouthful. But so we saw Drew McIntyre defeat Sami Zayn, but then afterwards the Bloodline comes out, just lays a beat down on Drew McIntyre. Even Sami Zayn helped out. I love. Before we talk about the match itself and the beatdown, the interactions between Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn the last couple weeks have been golden.
Yeah, they have.
Amazing entertainment. So last week they were in Canada, Montreal, Sami Zayn's hometown. Dude, that pop he got from the crowd in that Fatal 5-Way, that match was amazing, by the way. Go watch it. I know Sheamus won. Sami Zayn, even though he's a heel, amazing babyface performance there. The crowd was that was like a Stone Cold pop if I ever heard one.
It was loud.
But the interaction with Roman, because Jimmy and Jay were supposedly stuck at the border when Sami answered the phone and talked to Roman, but like they couldn't make it into the country. So Sami's like, I got your back. I'll hang out with you. So that backstage interaction between the two of them was awesome. He's like, I got your back, man. I want to be an honorary member of the Bloodline. And then this week, back in the U.S., Sami goes to the Roman's locker room. Usos come out and kind of giving him crap, like, what are you doing here? You lost and everything. And then Roman sees him, and Sami's like, hey, Roman. And he's like, remember I took the Claymore for you last week? And Roman's like, yeah, come on in. So he brings him in the room. Another awesome moment between Roman and Sami Zayn. Roman tells Zayn, like, I need you to, like, take out Drew for me, or keep him occupied. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm great at getting people's heads. I'll lay a blanket down, I'll do a little dance. And Roman starts, you can tell he's like corpsing laughing. And then Jay, who's trying to be Jay's trying to be, he's the one that's like the super dick to him, but he's covering his mouth laughing, and, and Jimmy's
he couldn't hold it in.
But like the interaction, like, Sami's like, dude, I'm proving to you I'm loyal. I took the Claymore kick for you, I saved you, I pushed you out of the way. Like, I'm in this. I want to be an honorary member. Like, I'm in this. And so, Roman pretty much told him, like, gave him his mission for the night, take out Drew. And he's like, great, I have a match against him. I'll do that. So what did you think about just Sami and his role with the Bloodline? Like, his whole, all these segments with them?
I feel like it's picking up a lot. Yeah. And I'm enjoying it, man. It's there's so many different ways you can go with I mean, he's legit got people, I think, who maybe didn't really care so much about Sami Zayn, really caring about Sami Zayn at this point. It's like, you put him on TV, he delivers, everyone's happy. Like, he's doing so well. And even Roman, like, I feel like while Roman has kind of gone, not he hasn't declined or gone sour yet, 100%, but this kind of, the dialogue that he has with Sami and everything, it's kind of refreshing for Roman at this point. We're seeing that other side of Roman that we were seeing when he first became like the tribal chief, the head of the table. These intimate moments that he used to have with Jay and Jimmy, he's now having with Sami, and and then you even see the character development with both Jimmy and Jay, right? Like, Jimmy is sort of like on board, and now Jay is the skeptic one, right? Remember Jay was on board with Roman, but Jimmy was more skeptical about it. So it's like, it's weird to see that dynamic. But yeah, man, I'm loving the segments, and I feel like they're just right to, like, they're not too long, it's not too much. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm loving it too. So Drew defeats Sami Zayn, but the Bloodline comes out, destroys him. I love how even Sami wanted to get involved in the beatdown, and Roman's standing on top of the ropes, and he's like, yeah, get him, Sami, get him. And so he hits the haluva kick and then helps out holding Drew while the Usos had the steel chair, or steel steps hit Drew in the face. So it's like he was part of the beatdown, and then Roman takes his chair, puts over Drew's neck, has the titles draped over him, and he's like, yeah, Drew, you got nothing to blood. And then the Usos standing behind him, and then that perfect camera angle, whether it was planned or just by luck, the way Sami just kind of out of behind Roman's head and just perfectly lines up in that empty space in between the Usos, and you get all four of them in one shot, the Bloodline standing over Drew McIntyre. It worked out perfect. The photos been all over social media of them as a 4-man group now. Like, it's great. Even Roman tagged Sami Zayn on Twitter in the photo, and everyone's like, oh my God, Roman's acknowledging Sami as part of the group, I guess.
Right.
It was great. Like I said, so I'm excited for what's going to happen. I am skeptical. Sami's getting such a great reaction from everyone. I'm worried what's going to happen. the Bloodline's going to turn on Sami, kick him out, whatever, feel he's weak or whatever the case may be. He's losing too much. Let me ask you this. Do you think what's going to happen is Sami's going to become a babyface after he gets kicked out, beat down by the Usos, or excuse me, the Bloodline? We saw Roman talk to Sami last week one-on-one and said, hey, you're still friends with Kevin Owens? And he's like, yeah, I am. And he said, Kevin Owens called me out and tell him he's not coming near, or I'm paraphrasing, like he's not coming near me. And then Sami's like, oh yeah, I don't really talk to him that much. Do you think that's planting the seeds for Sami Zayn becomes a babyface, gets his buddy Kevin Owens to go after the Usos for the tag titles? Do you think they'll be the ones to dethrone them?
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that would be perfect, I feel like.
Right? I mean, and then you get Sami Zayn maybe kind of back to like his NXT ways. It's like, right? I mean, I'm just saying that could maybe happen. I think that'd be a huge pop for them. Kevin Owens, he's kind of like in the middle right now, a tweener. He's just kind of just being the ass kicker. If you get in his way, he'll beat your ass. Like, so he could kind of be a babyface or, heel right now, either way. So I don't know.
I think the big question would be who approaches who first? Does KO approach Sami or does Sami approach KO?
I think, well, maybe if Sami's getting beat down, Kevin Owens makes the save. Maybe that's how you do it.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm just
Well, they have the common
enemy.
I mean, at that enemy, you know, so
yeah. We'll see. And then also, speaking of Drew McIntyre, we know Karrion Kross cut a cool promo up high in the stands, saying he's going after Drew. Yeah, TikTok. Time's running out, coming after you. I like Karrion Kross's motivation that, hey, Drew, hey, Roman, I don't like either one of you. You guys are the chosen ones. I was the one that was released from WWE, kicked to the side. I'm back now to prove myself and take what's mine.
Yes.
Cool. So I think Karrion is lingering right now, but depending on what happens at Clash of the Castle, I'm guessing maybe Drew and Karrion will have a program after that. That's the direction they're going. So, also speaking
so happy
of
for Kross.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not a huge Kross fan, but I think his presentation now could be really exciting. I'll save it for another time, talking about Kross and stuff.
Right.
And, I'm guessing Triple H will course correct it and make him look badass, and he's been looking badass right now. So I'm all for that. Right. Well, speaking of the IC title we've been talking about earlier. So it looks like Sheamus, who won the Fatal 5-Way last week, will take on Gunther at Clash of the Castle. I cannot wait for this match. It's gonna be hard hitting. It's gonna be badass. They're gonna have beat up bodies afterwards. But what do you think about this build here? Sheamus and Gunther go back and forth on the mic, just stare at each other, but then they're, I don't know what you call it, assistants, they're friends. Butch and Ludwig Kaiser instead fight each other, and they just stand there looking at each other. I thought that was cool. They're not touching each other, so just that it builds up that anticipation for their match, but their guys are fighting for them. How do you think that whole scenario played out?
I loved it. And another thing, here you go, like Sheamus kicking back into gear, getting back into that mindset of who he is, remembering who he is and who he was, and not really focused so much on chasing Butch around or kind of leaving that to Ridge Holland, like take care of Butch. I mean, but even Ridge Holland's kind of like letting Butch, aka Pete Dunne, hopefully he gets that name back too.
Well, do you see the rumor or the spoilers from? So they taped 2 episodes. Okay, so SmackDown aired live this past Friday, and then they recorded next week's episode in advance right after because they're going to be overseas. So I'll just say, watch SmackDown next week. It'd be worth it. It's transformation's going to happen, or the beginning of it. So,
but I feel like Sheamus was very serious, in this segment, really in this build up to him fighting Gunther for the Intercontinental title at Clash. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see him go out there and again not be worried about Butch, not be worried about Brawling Brutes, but be worried about Sheamus. Put Sheamus first. Put that gold. Be the Sheamus of old. The Celtic Warrior. Sheamus.
Yeah.
So
we even brought back his YouTube page, I heard. His workouts.
Yes.
So he's getting back to, his roots. So I'm excited for that. Also, so we saw, let's see, like a fatal 4-way tag team match, last chance fatal 4-way tag team match between Natty, Sonya Deville, Dana Brooke, Tamina, Shotzi, Xia Li, Nikki, A.S.H, and Doudrop. Natty and Sonya Deville picked up the win. Because unfortunately, Toxic Attraction was Gigi Dolan had a concussion, I believe, or some injury, so they're out. So they had this last chance, fatal 4-way tag team match to fill that spot. So Natty, Sonya Deville won early in the first hour, and then the second hour, I'm sorry. So they will fight. Is it this? It's on Raw, right?
The finals is going to be on Raw.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's Natty Sonya
and
Deville,
Sonya,
Dakota.
They went up. No, Natty and Sonya won the semifinal, or the fatal 4-way.
Yes.
And then they're going to go up, or they went up against Raquel and
Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Later on in the night.
That's right. So Raquel and Aaliyah won. So they're going to face Dakota Kai, and Sky on Raw this week. That's right. Sorry. It's a lot of moving parts because of the injuries and stuff.
Yeah, so much.
And then see what else was there. New Day's back. Saw them Kofi and Xavier Woods attack Viking Raiders with the kendo stick. So that's cool. Good for them. I think for both tag teams. I kind of have a feeling Viking Raiders are going to win. I think just to kind of freshen things up for the tag team division at some point. I think it's good for them. And I just want to shout out just Pat McAfee, how much fun he's having. When Ricochet beat Happy Corbin, he took the pin, it was right on his face, and he's a bum. Just all this stuff. They're having so much fun. It's just, that's refreshing as well. So, but yeah, here we are on the bill to the road to Clash at the Castle next weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend for pro wrestling. Clash at the Castle, you got NXT Worlds Collide, AEW All Out. Worlds Collide, NXT, we haven't had a chance to really touch on it, but a lot's happening there. Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate, champion versus champion unification match. The NXT UK champion versus NXT champion. We saw Blair Davenport make her in-ring debut, defeat Indy Hartwell. She argued with Mandy Rose and Miko Satomura. So at the end of the show, all the champions signed the contract. So it's going to be triple threat for the women's unification match. So Worlds Collide is going to be really fun. And Legado del Fantasma, they come out, jump in the car with Santos Escobar, and he's like, "You think I would leave you guys here?" So it looks like I'm guessing they're going to be main roster bound. I'm hoping like SmackDown. I think Legado will be awesome on SmackDown. It'd be really cool. Oh yeah. So NXT's been a lot of fun as of late. Can't wait for Worlds Collide. But yeah, man, as we said at the top of the show, so much exciting stuff with WWE. It's exciting to be a wrestling fan. Brian, you and I both agree. We love it all. We love WWE. We love AEW. We love NXT. We love it all. We just want to see everyone succeed and do well. When everyone's running on all cylinders, it's just great for the business. Everyone wins at that point. So next weekend is gonna be awesome for that. So all right. On that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys know you can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Like I said at the top of the show, subscribe to us in the Kliq, wherever you get your podcasts at. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a 5-star review and a rating, and a review as well. Also, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, thank you for that. Leave us a thumbs up and a comment there as well. And follow us on social at In The Kliq, KLIQ. Email us inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line, because Huey said so.